I am a child of a refugee of partition. My dad and then my mom grew up in India. They came to the United States to seek a better life, to try to build for their family a level of success and comfort that they didn't think was possible in India. So that's where I grew up. And growing up in the United States with them as parents, my goal was to be successful and make them proud. And when I went to university, I had the opportunity at that time to do some volunteer work in West Africa. Ghana was the first country on the continent that I stepped foot on, and I lived in a village of 500 people. And what I saw then, many years ago now, was that thanks to my parents, I had a lot of opportunity, but not everyone in the world does. That human potential is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And so that led me to asking, how can I help? And the way that I've tried to help in my life is a career in global public health, which is tied up into human rights and development and education, economic empowerment. But health as a starting point has always made a lot of sense to me. And so I've spent my career working on expanding access to medicine and healthcare in the public sector, in the private sector, with the United Nations, with companies, always looking to solve the same problem and serve the same people, but from different platforms. Well, I'm the founder of a startup, really. The WHO Foundation is a new organization. We're 21 months old, and even though the WHO is 75 years old, the WHO Foundation is an independent Swiss foundation that was created in the middle of the pandemic. I've had the opportunity in my life and in my career to help get new organizations started, including the Global Fund, which is now 20 years old, and Unitaid, the Clinton Health Access Initiative. So this is my latest turn at a startup. In this instance, when you ask me what I do, part of what I have to do is conceive of the strategy. So beyond the bylaws and beyond the mission statement and beyond the board, how do we bring the promise of the WHO Foundation to life? What are we going to do? Who are we going to work with? How are we going to judge success? How are we going to communicate with the communities that we intend to serve? So the strategy of the organization is one. The second is building a team that can execute. I'm one person. We have a big mission. So the way that we're going to be successful in serving our mission is recruiting a team of incredibly talented people from the public and the private sectors to fulfill the different functions we have, everything from strategy and fundraising to operations. So that's the second job I have, is to recruit a team and to lead them. And the third job I have is to ensure that we're executing, making sure that relative to that team and relative to that strategy, we're not just speaking big words or making big promises, but we're actually following through and that we're achieving impact. And for the WHO Foundation, that means raising resources, but then getting those resources to where they're needed, and then translating the spending of those resources into an impact on human lives, and then reporting that back and ensuring that we can be accountable for what we've done. Well, certainly one of the goals of the WHO Foundation is to raise resources, to fundraise, to raise money. And I say this as a starting point, not an end point. Because often, particularly in the context of humanitarian and health emergencies, a World Health Organization that is underfunded, honestly, we operate from a place of scarcity. And so we ask ourselves, how do we raise enough money so that we can just do the work? As opposed to, what are we working backwards from? So in 10 years, what is a vision of success? And for the WHO, the vision of success is health for all, not a well-funded WHO. The mission, the vision of the organization is to ensure that people all around the world, whether in the context of an emergency or not, have access to high quality, affordable healthcare. So that's my vision. And the way that I think the WHO Foundation can help achieve that vision is to bring the best of the public sector together with the best of the private sector. And that's about more than just money. That's about ensuring that we can bridge what is too often a divide. The WHO's work, because it's normative, historically there's been an apprehension about working closely with the private sector. You don't want to compromise the integrity or independence of the WHO scientific work. That's absolutely right. But Dr. Tedros, the Director General of the WHO, has had a vision of transformation and innovation. And so what we're trying to do with the foundation is be a convener, a platform, where the private sector can engage and understand the work of the WHO. So of course, you can support it, and so we have more money from philanthropists and businesses and the public, but also so that we can engage those communities and inspire them. In 10 years, I want the public around the world to think of the WHO as not an organization in Geneva. By the way, most of the people aren't in Geneva, but as an instrument for global good, as an organization that's in the ground, that's delivering healthcare. I want businesses to see in the WHO a partner where they can work with the WHO to accomplish common aims in a way that continues to protect the independence of WHO. I also want the WHO Foundation to be a tool to better align private capital with public good. Do you know that in all of global healthcare spending each year, only 0.5% is development assistance for health? So if you add up the budget of the WHO and the Global Fund and Gavi, it only adds up to 0.5% of all of the healthcare spending in the world each year. So what we really have to do to achieve health for all is make sure that that private capital, the return-seeking investment, is also a force for good and achieving equitable access. That is the broader vision of making sure that the foundation can take the work of the WHO, more strongly connect it to the private sector, so that together the public and the private sector can achieve the vision of WHO, which is health for all.